Welcome to Ox Tools. I'm Tom. Today we have a little different start to this video. You guys have been real supportive and been putting up a lot of good comments on the different videos, and I got the idea. I thought it might be fun to actually, when you guys comment, have you just put the country and the town where you're from and where you're commenting from. You don't have to put your real name or even the exact town that you live in, but something nearby. And what I did is I picked up a couple of maps here, and what I want to do is stick pins in the map, since we're getting quite a few viewers now, and it's kind of fun to see where all these comments are coming, because for me, part of the fun of this, doing the videos and interacting with people through the internet, is that there's really no borders and no time zones anymore, and I can talk to people in other countries and learn things that how they do things there, or trade knowledge from all over the world. And you know, when I was born, that really wasn't possible. You know, if somebody told you in the 90s that we would be watching Soviet or Russian tool makers make tools and use machines on the internet or on your computer, they would have thought you were crazy, right? Well, now it's the total reality, and there's some really great guys out there and doing some really good work. So as a way to participate, and what I want to do is start sticking pins in these maps, and hopefully, you know, in a couple of months or whatever, this thing will be covered with pins, and it'll really look like something. And so anyway, there's a couple of guys that I communicate with kind of offline that I know that live nearby, actually. So they're going to get the first couple of pins, and I'll stick one in for myself too, here in Benicia, California, which is right in this area right here. So I'm going to try a couple of things here. I made a little pointer here so that we can point to the different areas. You know, and the camera's pretty far away right now, and we'll see what some of the video looks like, some close-ups and some shot back from a little distance here. But here's the San Francisco Bay Area right here. The other thing I have, and I'm just trying it here to see how it looks on the video, is I got this laser pointer here. Oh yeah, that kind of shows up. So that's the San Francisco Bay Area there, and a guy named, his handle is Outside Screwball. I've met this guy personally, and actually gave me a hard time because I called him a local viewer, and I didn't acknowledge him by name. So anyway, he was just busting my chops. And so Outside Screwball lives in near Palo Alto, California, right in this area here. So we're going to stick a pin in for him so he doesn't whine anymore. So let's go ahead and do that. So Outside Screwball gets the first pin right here, and then just north of that is me, kind of here, right in there. And then we got another guy that I did a little job for recently to help him out. His name is Greg, and he has a shop up in Seattle. And I think his handle is gbone, B-O-W-N-E, on YouTube. And he's up here in Seattle, up in that area there. So we're going to stick a pin in for him too. And we showed a video of making some these press pins for him, and I finished the pins and mailed them off to him. And I have one extra that I saved that I'll show you, the after the heat treat pin, what they look like when they came back from the heat treater. So we'll look at those in a little bit. So I got to get my vertically challenged stool here. So he's in Seattle. So we're going to stick one in there for that. So another guy I want to stick a pin in for, but I don't know what city he lives in, is Herb Blair. and we're going to show an idea that I stole from Herb. He built a little rack for holding all his lathe tool holders that I really liked, and so he welded it up and mounted it near his lathe, and I just thought it was a great idea, and so I kind of changed it around to suit my tool holders and my setup. And but you know, he's really I'm just acknowledging him that he's the nucleus of the idea for me anyway, on a method for storing tool blocks for the lathe, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. But he's somewhere in Texas. I'm not sure where he is, so I'm expecting Herb, you to comment on this video and tell us whether you're from Amarillo or Austin or San Antonio or wherever you are, to give us an idea where you're at, and we'll stick a pin in there for you the next time. So what I'll do is I may start out the videos with a little quick couple of minutes, or maybe we'll do them separate. I don't know. These could actually end up being a little bit long, and if we got a lot of pins to stick in. But maybe I'll just try to do a couple on each beginning of each video. So anyway, there's a couple of pins there, and guys, the guys that are commenting regularly, totally appreciate it. But a lot of guys, I don't know exactly what city you live in, or even what country actually, and so it's not because I'm ignoring you, it's because I just don't know for sure where you are. So go ahead and comment, and I'll stick a pin up for you and say something. And what was the other thing I was gonna? Oh, I got my little list here. Bonus points. So there's some real interesting places, and that I'm sure have internet access, but and who knows, we may have subscribers there too. But I'm going to say that you get double secret extra points if you live in Antarctica, for one, or Greenland, another one. Any of these little islands in the Southern Ocean down here, Tristan da Cunha, and or Ascension Island, something like that. Diego Garcia, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so we'll figure out some kind of acknowledgement for the most unique place. So anyway, so like I said, bonus points. So we got a bunch of Australian viewers too. Actually, you know what? I do know one guy lives in Victoria, and his name is Vaughn, and he sent me some stuff to help out my wife with matting, framing and matting of artwork. Anyway, he lives in Victoria, so we're going to stick a pin in for him. He lives down here in Australia, down under, so he gets a pin too. Yeah, I forgot about that one. So as I read these, I'll make a little list, and we'll come out and do this. Anyway, this is going to be fun for me too, and I hope you guys like it also. So it's a way to participate. Okay, so I looked at my notes, and I got a couple more guys to put in here, and we got another guy. His name is Steve, and he's or Stefan, and he's in Germany, and I don't see his exact city, so we're just gonna stick a pin in Germany there for Stefan, and I'll have to look up and see what it's close to. And listen, guys, if you don't want to participate, you don't have to participate. You know, I know some guys they want to be more private on the web, and that's fine. And but I think there's little harm in telling what country you live in and what city, because generally, it's kind of easy to figure out. Now, if you live on Tristan da Cunha and you want to stay anonymous, then that might be a little more difficult. Okay, so we're going to stick a pin in here. I'm just going to stick it right in the middle here. All right, that's for Stefan. Then the other one is Mr. James Kilroy, who, and I'm gonna have to switch maps here. He's in Texas, or excuse me, I'm sorry, Mississippi, and so we'll go to the United States map over here, and we'll stick a pin in there for Mr. Kilroy. All right, so I'm going to stick a pin in for Mr. Kilroy, and he's in slightly south, or excuse me, slightly east of the capital, Jackson, and so we're going to stick a pin in right in that area for Mr. James Kilroy there. So let's see, who else do I have here? I think that's it. I got to go back and check my notes. Probably got a couple more that I can put in there. I know we got a bunch of viewers in England, the UK, so Mr. Bick Chappie and a few others. So pipe up and give me a. Actually, Bick may have given me his town that he lives in. I got to go look at my notes. So this is all new to me. So go ahead and post a comment and put your country or a major city that's close to you. If you want to be more private, and we'll get you up on the map, and pretty soon this will be pretty interesting. Okay, so here's the here's my spin on Herb Blair's little tool holder thing. So what he did is he made a welded rack to hold his tool blocks. Well, I had built this little unistrut set up to hold this light and above the lathe, so I just kind of adapted off of that with some unistrut stuff, which is available at Lowe's and Home Depot and Construction Supply. Anyway, I noticed I had one of these brackets here. This is a bracket made by Simpson Strong Tie, and they make all kinds of stuff for. They're kind of construction brackets for supporting wood beams and tying beams together, and or stair treads, or burying one end in concrete and adapting to wood. Anyway, they make just an array of sheet metal brackets, and they're relatively inexpensive at Lowe's and Home Depot. But what I noticed was there was one particular one here. I don't quite see the number on it right now, but it fits these CXA tool blocks like perfectly. So what I had been doing before is I had them up here, and this area was filling up. So I adapted his idea, and now I have a little rack of tools, and I can reach them easily behind the machine here. And it's just done with unistrut brackets. There's some 45-degree brackets, and these already come punched with a hole, and you just use the inserted nut for the unistrut. And then here's the little IKEA light deal, and it's just the magnets just snap to a base there, and I can move that around. This guy here that I took out, this is sometimes I mount the video camera on that to carry it along the carriage. So anyway, that's the thanks Herb. That was a great idea. And his tool blocks are smaller. Herb's are smaller than these. But the whole blade idea is what I got from you, and I appreciate you showing that. And so now I got a pretty nice tool rack that seems to work pretty good. So thanks a lot. All right. So a viewer was asking about my welding tables, so I figured I'd just do a quick little rundown on the welding tables. So this is my main welding table, solid surface. It's steel, and it's so the dimensions of it. It's 2 inches thick, which is about 50 millimeters. It's 4 feet wide in this direction, which is about 1.2 meters. Okay, and then the length is 72 inches. And that's
1.8 meters, something like that, 1800 millimeters. The top surface has been ground flat, Blanchard ground. So the story is that I got this at a scrap sale, and but I had to move the thing, and it weighs 2,000 pounds. And I don't have a big heavy duty truck, so moving it was going to be a challenge. Let's put it that way. The problem was I had to kind of move fast, or else it wasn't going to be available anymore. And anyway, I wanted to get the damn thing, so I had to scramble a little bit. So what I did was I negotiated with the guy that did the Blanchard grinding, and he actually picked it up. So I paid for it, and he picked it up, brought it back to his shop. That's Advanced Grinding down in Oakland, California. So talk to Jim down there if you want some Blanchard grinding done. He ground it for me, and then actually delivered it to my shop here in Benicia. And I have a forklift, so I can unload it and do all that. So it was just the transportation that was the hassle. So anyway, it was a rough, beat up piece of steel plate, and he surfaced it out for me real nice on one side, and for reasonable money. So I have a table now that's flat to probably 2,000ths across it, something like that would be my guess. I haven't checked it. And it kind of doesn't matter. It's a nice flat plane. It's not a surface plate, but it's a really good fab table. And then it's on pipe legs with adjusters, and I've got a small vise mounted here. And I find the small vise is helpful when fixturing little welding parts to TIG weld together. So that's the one welding table, and then we'll go spin around and look at the smaller one here in just a second. Yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about this too. So these are this is an extra one. These are the pins I made for Seattle Precision up in Seattle, and they're made out of 8620 steel. This diameter here is 3/4 of an inch. This is 2 inches. And this is 3/4 thick, and they're knurled. And they sit in a press, kind of like this, 4 of them, and they guide the quick change tooling in the press. But they need to be hard and strong. So you can make these out of tool steel. But I had a whole bunch of 8620 left, so that's what we made them out of, and I got them heat treated. So right now, this particular one, this came back from the heat treater, and they bead blasted it to get the the scaly carburization off of the surface and clean them up a little bit. So these have a 60,000ths K step, so 1.5 millimeter K step. Okay, that's pretty studly. So that's radial too. So it has a hard skin on it, a case hardening that's 1/8 of an inch on the diameter. Okay, so 3 millimeters on the diameter of case hardened, and the hardness of this, they checked them because it was on the receipt. It's 62 Rockwell C. So that's pretty hard. Okay, but the beauty of this particular material is its surface hardness, and then the internal part of it is not soft, but it's softer. So what you get is this very, very tough pin, right? It's not glass hard all the way through, so it's got this wear resistant, tough exterior, the case hardening, and then a softer, tougher, impact resistant core. So this is a wonderful steel. The heat treating for it's relatively cheap. The machine's like cream cheese. So and the other thing is that you can weld pieces together and build bigger structures out of this material too. So a lot of tool steels are pretty tricky to weld. You got to use special rods and preheat and post-heat and do a bunch of horsing around to join them with welding. So anyway, that's the wrap up on those pins. Those got mailed off, and they're on their way. And hopefully I'll do a little blog article on the on those pins and where the steel came from, and there's a whole story there that's kind of interesting, and I'll go through that on the blog. So. All right, so this isn't really, well, it's kind of a welding table, but it's more of a forming table, and that's what the idea behind some of these odd-shaped cutouts are. And this is kind of my own design here. We had some welding tables that at one place they had a bunch of notches in the sides and holes in the middle of the tables, and they were scrap plates that were left over from a welding fixture. Anyway, we repurposed them into welding tables, and it turns out that those holes and notches were actually kind of useful. So I always kind of kept that in the back of my head, and when I needed a new welding table when I moved into this shop, I had this one cut out. This is brand new plate, and this is all this cut out oxy fuel cutting, and so I kind of let my imagination go nuts here on what I might need, because I figured, you know, hey, I'm getting it cut. It doesn't really cost any extra to have a few holes put in it, and boy, that's kind of hard to do later on. So I figured I'd just go ahead and do it right out of the gate. So the idea is that you can put things in there, you can bend them, you can squeeze them and into these tapering shapes. You know, round holes when you're forming sheet metal cones. You can jam them in these holes and it helps close them down. So there's all kinds of things that you can do with notches like this. And then the railroad track here, what I do is I slide that out, and then I end up with a kind of a horn that I can shape sheet metal shapes with, or hollow shapes or whatnot, and support the inside. And this is an old rail off of a crane that got shortened, and so I ended up with a piece of this railroad track. So that's kind of the story here. The dimensions of this particular one are, so it's 48 inches, 1.2 meters, 1,200 millimeters this way, and it's 36 inches this way, which is about a meter, 1,000 millimeters. And this one here is an inch and a half thick, 38 millimeters thick. And I got a couple vices mounted to it. So I had a vice collection, so I figured I'd just go ahead and mount them up, and they both serve their little purposes, and so it's nice to have multiple vices. So anyway, that's kind of the story on this one. This one has different legs on it. It has I-beam legs on it, and I was just trying them. Usually I put tubular legs on my welding tables, but I had some I-beam left over from another thing, and so I stuck those on there. And it's kind of nice because it's really easy to clip the ground clamp onto the flange of the I-beam, so I kind of like that. I didn't put levelers on this one initially, and I'm kind of sorry that I didn't. So I'm gonna add some to this. So that's a little project coming up that we're gonna. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna video that. It's pretty boring. It's just gonna be some leveling feet put on this. So I don't think that's worth the video. So anyway, that's the forming table. So we showed the welding table, and this is the forming table here. And this one, is made for, you can beat on it and heat things up on it and do red hot work. So it's almost like a blacksmith's swage block built into a table. So if you look up blacksmith swage block, S-W-A-G-E, on the internet, you'll see kind of that idea, and has been transformed into a table form. That principle, I should say. So anyway, that's this one. All right, so this is, you guys have seen this before. This is this little abrasive stick, and I guess I just made a offhanded comment that this little the little lock mechanism here that clamps the abrasive to this was kind of didn't work right, and anyway, a whole flood of ideas kind of came shooting through the YouTube channel, and I was kind of surprised at the response just from that one little thing. And you know, I've been using this thing on the lathe in different places, and it's kind of handy, and it's a very simple tool. You guys can make your own, or buy one. It's only $5 or $6 from McMaster Car. So anyway, you know, I looked at some of these ideas and I thought about how I might want to fix that. But what I did is I did two things. So the first thing I did was I formed a. Now this is just steel strapping that I saved from a load, and it was kind of wide and thick stuff, and also it's heat treated, so it's really springy and strong. So what I did is I just sheared it and I formed some legs on it, and it kind of laps over the flat bar here, and then when the screw comes down on this and tightens up, it can't turn and cock the. So I'll show you just to remind you guys what the problem was here, and maybe any new viewers. So when you put the stock clamp on here, the Lamo clamp here, you put this on and you tighten it up, and see, it puckers the paper there when you crank it down. So it's winding up that abrasive paper, and anyway, it makes it want to do that kind of crap. And you know, anyway, it works, but it's, you know, it's not cool, right? So my first attempt there was my first fix was to make this clip here. And you know, if any of you guys have, this is 1 inch wide here, you know, 25 millimeters wide. If you have your own flat bar, you can make that. And if you're really lucky, your shop or somewhere where you know uses 1 inch wide strapping, and these really look like the little strapping clamps to lock the strapping down. Anyway, so that was, but I made one, so because I could. Anyway, that goes over that, and then the clamp pushes on that to lock the strip, and now it doesn't turn. So that was one fix on that. And the second fix, which I kind of like better, is I found some thin phenolic sheet here. This is epoxy phenolic G10, and so I slipped it into this vinyl, inside this vinyl handle here, down into the handle, and now I have a little flapper here, and I can slip that under there, and it kind of holds it in place while I'm horsing around with it, like so. So I can kind of tuck it under there and get it all secured under there and get this tensioned the way I want, and then put the clamp over that. And since it's up inside the handle, it doesn't cock that. So this is the one I'm using right now. I'll test drive it for a little while, but thanks for all the ideas that came through on that. And so if you make your own, plan on some little anti-rotation feature to get that really nice and usable. So and then here's a close-up of the pins we did for Seattle Precision. And then this one was a finer knurl here, which I didn't like, so I went to a coarser knurl on the others. And then I engraved, and you can't really see it, maybe you can, I engraved the type of steel in there, so when these things get all beat up, he can tell which ones these are. They're going to end up looking like all the other ones. So and then this is my little list of things I was going to talk about, but I'm going to change the camera around. Okay, so this is the last bit of this video here. There's some upcoming projects. Seems to be a lot of interest in lathe tool bit honing. A lot of guys have been asking questions about that and would like to see more on that. So I'll do a short video on tool bit honing coming up, and show how I do it. There's lots of ways to do it. It's not, frankly, to me, it's not a lengthy video subject, so it's a little segment of a video where we talk about how to hone the edges of tool bits, and it's pretty straightforward. But there seems to be some confusion or maybe mystery about how it's done. So it'll probably be a disappointing video because it's not that complicated once you see somebody do it. And maybe that's the key, is just seeing somebody do it, and that will be helpful to viewers, and so that they can go out and do that themselves. So there'll be one on that. The other one, another upcoming project that we're going to do is, I had an idea. I have my big welding machine over here, and it's got a 300 cubic foot argon bottle on it, and the thing's heavy. Okay, that damn bottle is heavy, and I'm sorry, Miller, but you know, when you guys design these bottle holders on your machines, you got to take that bottle and you got to lift it up and get it up into the rack on the machine. Okay. So now my little hoist here, you know, I can't, the MIG welder, sure, I can move the MIG welder out and get it under the crane and rig the bottle to the crane and lift it up and do all that, right? But my TIG welder is kind of not hardwired, but flexible wired hard into the wall. So I don't have a plug that I can disconnect and roll it out, right? So I can't get it underneath the crane, unfortunately. And you know, rigging gas bottles, you know, you got to put a choker on it, and then they don't sit straight, and you know, there's issues with that. So I've always had it in my mind that it would be really cool to have some kind of lift to lift these heavy bottles so that you could put them into the rack without killing yourself. And I've seen people get their backs hurt doing those. You know, a full argon bottle, a 300 cubic foot. I'm not sure what it weighs, but it's well over 100 pounds, and it may be close to 200 pounds. So I don't know about you, but the older I get, the less I want to lift. So anyway, that's going to be an upcoming project. I bought some parts. I need to gather a couple little pieces of material, so that's going to be coming up, and you guys would probably be interested in that. Real simple to build, and you guys can build your own. And we did the pin wrap up. And anyway, lots more stuff coming. This was just kind of a video connecting a bunch of little pieces together. None of them was worth a whole video on its own, so I kind of roll it all together. The world map and the pins, the welding tables, the little abrasive stick, the pin wrap up, and some upcoming videos that I got planned. So anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned. We got plenty of cool stuff coming up, and lots of stuff to learn and see. So catch you soon.